I've been scarred and I've been bruised. I have learned just what to do. I need to leave my past behind me. I need to look to the future. No matter what will come, no matter what I've done, I know just what to do. And that's all because of you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. A warm welcome to the new members of our YouTube community. Thank you for liking us enough to stay. Thank you to the resident subscribers who keep on sharing, who keep on tagging, who keep on recommending. Literally, we've got an organic reach. We're not migrating the followers from anywhere, so I'm essentially relying on you to spread the word, and you have been doing just that, and I'm really grateful. Before we begin, we've got a few housekeeping matters to touch base on, so a little family meeting just for a few minutes. First things first, she's got a name. Finally, we're not calling her the unicorn. One of our subscribers, in fact a couple of our subscribers, put forward a couple of names. Somebody said she must be Jewel, somebody said she must be Lucy, but we really fell in love with the name Tingo. So please meet Tingo, everyone. If you've never met Tingo before, Tingo is our comfort stuffed animal. If you see Tingo on the screen, you must assume that the topic is a little bit heavy on your emotions. So if you're not in a good place, it might be time to postpone and watch later. Or if you feel a bit sad afterwards, Tingo is your reminder as to what could be the reason you're feeling a little bit heavy. Tingo means rainbow. That was a beautiful name, named by our subscriber Lisejo Ndlovu. We are waiting for Lisejo to DM us so we can send her a box of chocolates. So please, Lisejo, at Ziana Mav or on Facebook, which is my name. Thank you. We love the name. We love the rationale behind the name, that even after a rain, you know, we discuss really heavy things that dig into our souls and make it feel rainy, but there's always a rainbow. You okay is essentially that rainbow. Really fell in love with that name. Thank you for bidding and answering the call to offer that recommendation. We love it. Hi Tingo. I don't think Tingo needs to be here today, but I don't know how you feel about it. I just wanted to introduce Tingo. Second thing that I wanted to touch base on in terms of housekeeping was engagement. To the people that I knew, you'll see that I'm very visible on the comment section, but I want to also alert people that I'm much more visible on recent videos. The more videos we've got on our platform, the less likely it is that I will comment on a video that is very retrospective. So you are not ignored. We do see your comments, but to salvage time and preserve time for content preparation, I do sometimes don't respond to comments that are on very old videos. So you're more than welcome to give the comments nonetheless, but you may not get a response, and we're not singling you out. I love hearing from you. I don't want you to stop because you're not getting reciprocation. The reciprocation will be the highest on videos that are failing new. I make it a point to set time aside for it, to engage with you, because I always invite you to comment and I want to comment right back. But then it's becoming harder and harder, you know, to talk to the new people that just joined and are watching a very old video. So please do forgive me for that. And I think that's it on housekeeping. And I want to thank you guys for the politeness, for the warmth in the atmosphere. We haven't had any rude encounters. You're really courteous when you talk to me on inbox. It's always, hi, this is who I am, this is my problem, and you are patient in my turnaround times. And I really appreciate that. I'm not struggling with online culture because of the quality of people that subscribe to my channel, and I really want to thank you for that. We're discussing something a little bit complex today, perhaps a little bit controversial, but I think I've become a voice that cushions you guys with grace and compassion even when we talk about really difficult things. So I trust that we will go with that narrative even today when we talk about black text, because black text is very split in terms of schools of thought, between people that think it's a burden and between people that think it's a moral responsibility. And I trust your intellect to decide for yourself which one it is for you, but I do want to offer compassion, advice, and permission, you know, whichever stance of black text that you hold. And for the people that are unfamiliar with the term, black tax is the loose term we typically use to refer to the money or financial resources that young professionals typically have to share with their families. And the context of black tax is a useful place to begin in terms of why black tax is a necessity in the first place for black families. And please, guys, don't start by saying black tax is not only a black thing. Don't be that guy. Just don't. Don't be that guy. You know, we all understand why we have picked black specifically, because that's where the biggest problem is. You know, we're not going to have that argument now that this is an African thing and whoever is African is affected by it. It doesn't matter their race. No, we're calling it black tax for a reason. Yeah, so black tax, I suppose, is controversial because of the word tax. I think that's what has picked up the negative connotation about it. The fact that people feel taxed by it, and obviously they feel taxed by it because somehow the demand isn't matching the available resources, and you can't give something that you don't have. And then people start to struggle, and then they feel taxed by it, and then comes the psychological sequelae or difficulties that come with that conflict, and then it's downhill from there. It accounts for a large part of black mental health, a large part of our distress, and a large part of family conflict. So we're going to try and dissect it. As promised, I'm going to do it a bit differently by giving you guys subtle permission slips to allow for breathing space in your black text journey. And I suppose first things first in your permission slips is the permission to go at it slowly. I think that is the most important thing. The permission to go slowly at it, because what typically makes it so taxing is the ambition and the speed and the pace upon which we wish to rescue our families out of poverty. And that slowed pace allows you time to love yourself and love them without there being a clash between your needs and the family's needs. Time is gracious to you. There is no hurry, because the biggest dissonance comes when you opt out of black text to serve yourself, then the family fights with you, or when you devote completely to family and it doesn't serve yourself. And time is that boundary that says, I can love me and I can love you. It's beautiful. Do allow yourself the grace of time. Your family will be your family forever. They're not going to expire in 2 years' time. So you don't need to do it all right now. You are going to have everything that you want. All of it, you've got the capacity to attain it, but you're not going to get it all at once. And if you try and get it all at once, you might have to rely on lending facilities to help you. And that's where the problem begins. And this timing issue is very tied to a topic we've been discussing a lot of times, which is the topic of naivety. Take the context of when we originally plan for families. Most of us are planning on your current living resource. You're like, I live at res, or I live at home on maybe 1,000 rand. And every time you see an advert, you're like, even if I earn just 7,000 rand, that is 7 times more than what I'm living now. Surely I can stretch that very, very thin. And you start being ambitious in terms of what 7,000 can do based on your knowledge of 1,000, of what 1,000 can do currently. What we don't include in that planning, we don't include inflation, we don't include migration of black families. Typically, we used to share this 1,000 if there is a carton of milk, we've bought one and it can go around all of us. What you are forgetting is that once you move physically out of home, it doubles the commitment first to the household you are living in and the one that you left behind. And typically, this is a very new system in black families. Black families used to live close to one another, and sharing of resources was then much easier. But when you plan and forecast what you're going to do and how fast you're going to do it, you forget to account for the cost of the move, which is you have to rent where you are living, you have to eat where you are living, and the needs of the home have not changed either just because you have left. And as soon as you get to the adult life, it shows you what adulting actually looks like. And remember, your salary isn't increasing at the same rate as the inflation. In fact, it's lagging very far behind. So as cost of living gets higher for you and your family system, your finances are not drastically increasing to match your demand. But what is so important to remember is that you've had an opportunity as an adult to be encountered with the true maths of how much it costs to live as an adult. What we then forget is the people you made the promise to didn't migrate with you. And they haven't had the rude awakening that made you catch up to reality. So they are still on the original premise, which was always based on fantasy. Why am I saying this? Because I'm trying to assign the responsibility to make the decision to you. Because you are the one that has updated information. When you sat and discussed the ambition, the plan, and the desire, everyone involved in that discussion was doing it based on intention. You are the only one who now suddenly has additional information on top of the intention, and you have to marry the two, but the people you made the promise to haven't caught up. They're still living the way that they were living. You are the one that has been met with the brutality, of what adulting actually means. The onus lies on you. they are still in the fantasy. They are still in the desire. And that desire as black families is all that we have. Everyone who seems to be better resourced than the other is the hope of the family. Most of us are first generation wealth creators. There's tremendous responsibility on our shoulders. But that onus lies on you, because when you've got demands on both sides, when their demand is just one, and they don't know why they should divorce the fantasy, you have not updated them. It becomes 100% your responsibility to lean into reality and make everybody aware of that reality, which leads me to permission number 2. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to make a new, updated decision. It's necessary to. It's not a betrayal of the original stance. You don't have to hold yourself captive to a stance you took when you didn't know enough. It's okay to change your mind. Your livelihood depends on it. Your new relationships depend on it. Your functionality and your psychological well-being depends on it. It's a childlike thing to ignore existing reality because it's uncomfortable for you. That's what children do. I'm going to ignore the facts of why broccoli is good for me because I just don't like it. That's not how adults reason. It's okay for you to grow up. You know, we don't pay attention to how much we are forced to remain children by our families. You have the permission to grow up. And growing up necessitates that you grow up here too. You're allowed to grow. This subliminal removal of your capacity to adult means the adults in the family home forever hold, the supreme power over your finances, and you feel like you can't say no because you are a child. And I need you to give yourself the permission to grow up. It's okay for you to grow up. And growing up means I run a different household now. And as the executive of that household, there's some tough calls I need to make. Just as you are mom in this main household and you are the executive of that household, you need to reason with your family system as an adult because you're not a child anymore. They need to catch up to that. You've always been a child to them. Nothing has changed, Kubo. You are the one that has a life that has changed. Own the responsibility to update everyone that I'm actually not a kid anymore. So my obligations match those of an adult. And like you and I'm adulting at the moment. It's really, 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 really okay. You cannot give something that you don't have. And credit money is not your money. So if that's what you are giving, you're actually giving money that you don't have. Everything slaps so differently when it's a choice. Everyone that has chosen to give to the moral responsibility of rescuing their family isn't taxed by the responsibility because it's their choice. Everybody that feels, this heavy, heavy stifling on their necks, it's because they feel like I didn't choose this. Or I wish to choose something different now. And then it becomes hard to communicate that, which leads me to the next permission I'd like to give you. You are allowed to choose your life. It's okay for you to choose your life. Most of us are conditioned into the adult roles we play. It's like you're the firstborn, therefore, this is your responsibility. You are the most educated one, therefore, this is your responsibility. You are the one with the least number of children and obligations, therefore, your money is not tied to anything, therefore you should give it to us. We've all got a life we did not choose, a role that we were just socialized into. And I give you permission to choose your life, to make choices that command where your money is going to go, to choose to keep some of your money. There is grace in saying no to now and yes to later. It's actually very strategic to do so. The more you remain resourced, the longer you can serve your family. Saying yes to everything too quickly serves them in the now. But what it does is that it limits the quality of education your children can get, the social experiences they are able to get because of Sheku broke, meaning you've groomed a new generation of laggers behind. Although you were saying, I'm trying to rescue my people so they can play the catch-up game because the economy has left them behind because of South African legacy. But what we are doing by this massive rescue that you are doing, that is poorly sustainable, is that you are limiting the new generation that's coming, which is your children. Suddenly, there's quality of experiences they cannot get because there isn't funds to fund that. Because you decided to throw in money into this aggressive rescue plan that you've got. There is nothing that is useful to understand in black text than to understand that the construction of vulnerability for black people is a systemic problem. That immediately tells you that one individual cannot undo it. Your ambition to try and redo that entire system as one individual will make you feel like I'm failing at this. Guys, it needs an entire government. Even that government isn't doing a fantastic job. Even they're not getting it right speedily and timelessly. You're just one person. Just one. And I know it's really scary to set boundaries because we somewhat tie the ability to provide for our families to the worthiness then our families is going to attach to us. And it can be scary to test out that if I don't provide, will I still be worthy in their eyes? Will they still consider me one of them? Will they still consider me to have been a worthwhile investment that they put resources into by sending me to school? Nobody wants to be a disappointment. And because you've been conditioned and told that one day when you do X, Y, Z, this is the experience we're going to have as a family, it's terrifying to then find out if I don't play into it, what's going to happen? And please don't act like affection is something we reject. We all want affection. You want your family to be proud of you. You want your family to like you. You want your family to count on you. And it's really scary to remove the one transaction that you know buys you that. That your life is on the line. Your marriage is on the line. The future of your children is on the line. The cost of letting that go is just ridiculously too high. You're doing everyone a favor by getting it right, by going at it slowly, by pressing pause and continuing later, and by getting out of debt. I don't think there's anything that accounts for a lot of my clients' severe distress than the impact debt has on their lives. It's painful to know that you're making money but you don't have money. It makes you feel like you failed at adulting. It makes you resentful towards the people that benefit from you. I know that black tax is the most effective way to bandage the wounds that apartheid has caused in our families. But we owe it to one another to continue conversing by how to build this system of ours to actually work effectively. And we need these continuous dialogues so that we can insulate those that are upcoming to not fall into the same traps that we've fallen into. This is the only way we can finally transform. And for somebody that's deep within a financial mess, it's never too late to get out. Every good financial choice is chipping away at the walls that are closing in. Every stokvel investment, every debt you close, every credit facility you pay back, every good financial choice, it's chipping and chipping and chipping. I know sometimes it's incredibly slow to get out of debt. You can feel like uchikelezenda when you want. But every good choice you are making is an investment into a better life for you and future generations to come. Do it slowly, consistently, patiently, and not alone. I hope you never fall victim to the lie that this is something that is happening just to you. This is actually a universal problem amongst black people. It's not just you. Talk to people. Learn ways of targeting debt, the avalanche method, the snowball method. educate yourself and make an about turn. It's not too late to get on the right road if you feel like you are on the wrong one. And the final permission I'd like to give you is to personalize your black text store. It does not have to look like anybody else's. What the other person did for their family, or the woke one that's saying black text is a burden, and that other one that's saying it's an honor, it's personal to them and their family system. And it's okay if your narrative doesn't look anything like theirs. You don't have to follow political ideology. You don't have to follow woke friends. Each family has been impacted differently in severity by socioeconomics. And don't let anyone tell you what your reality and the reality of your family has been. And if you want to do both, that's perfectly okay. The how may be a useful thing to think about. You can do both. You can love your family and you can love yourself. These two things don't cancel each other out. We are collectivists. We've been groomed that way. We love it that way. But there is a how. And right now that how is stifling us, and it doesn't have to. I think we're running out of time. And I hope this has begun a contemplative process in your mind to relook your finances, to relook your value system, to relook what you are buying with the money per se, and start making updated decisions, and maybe take responsibility for updating the people that aren't living your life in terms of what's actually going on in your life, so everybody can live freely and not step on anybody else's toes. And I wish the people that are in debt recovery, patience, and strength. It's a mistake we've all made. You did nothing wrong. And I hope you've enjoyed the money series, and this was the last bit of it. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.